Well, it's me again, out running. It's beautiful weather today. It's only going to be about 80 and not 90 and sweltering like it used to be. Or actually, it was 100, I think, a couple of days ago. But now it's sort of like 80, maybe not even there yet. It's a little early. No, 1 o'clock. Not early. I'm late. I'm late for a very important date. But I want to tell you about the prescription drug thing that Biden announced yesterday, too, in his big announcement on 72 changes that he's making. So this is, to me, it's bigger than the stimulus program, because the changes I mentioned earlier in the other video, he's talking about saving you or making you able to earn 5,000 to 10,000 more a year. So a stimulus package is only a couple $1,000s, and that's one time. This would be every year. And it's by changing a lot of the regulations against monopolies. What's happened in our country, we're starting to get these companies so big. I don't know who's bigger, Big Brother, the government, or Big Sister, the businesses. So which one do you like? You're going to have to choose, or they're both going to be. It's sort of like Godzilla and who's the other monster that was back in the 60s or whatever. They had those movies about these two monsters fighting each other, and then big business and big government, boy, they're going at it. Well, maybe one will keep the a little more honest. I mean, that's what. But actually, the drug program, well, what he's trying to do, and actually, this is the same as who's the other guy who was there? Trump. That's right, Trump. Trump did this too, and he started it by making letting people buy drugs from Canada. And he started that. Trump started that last year, and it looks like Florida is the only state that's doing it so far. So they're going to get drugs a lot cheaper down in Florida. Now I don't know if that's buying all of Florida or just for the government programs in Florida. It's not really clear. But if we could buy, prescription drugs from Florida, they're like, we pay, 250% more for drugs than any other country, and so that's crazy. What are we doing that for? Well, here's some more things he talks about. The president's directive also urges the Federal Trade Commission to promote the availability of generic drugs by banning pharmaceutical manufacturers from paying their generic counterparts to delay entry of low-price versions of medications into the market. See, in other words, they're going to stop letting the drug companies, what they do now is, okay, you're Pfizer or somebody and have this drug that solves problem. Okay, the patent runs out, and so there's a generic available. Now, what the drug companies are doing are paying the generic company not to make them. Now, how do you like that? Aren't we clever people? We'll always find a way to make a buck in here. Such a ban is consistent with the Biden support during the campaign for increasing the supply of generics. See, we don't use generics because the big guys don't want them. The idea is also part of the legislation before the Senate. So they're looking at that. And I think a lot of this stuff for the healthcare and against the big pharma companies is supported by both Democrats and Republicans. So that's interesting. And the White House goes on to say, as a result, Americans have to pay 2.5 times more for prescription drugs than any other leading country. So we pay 2.5 times more. And they're coming after me already. That must be the drug companies. Okay. The president also said hearing aids. Okay. What'd you say? What'd you say? Hearing. Boy, I'm getting older, and that's going a little bit. Hearing aids should also be available to buy over the counter at pharmacies, rather than mainly from hearing specialists. See, they got a monopoly on this. These hearing specialists. A charge he predicted would lower costs and lead to more people with hearing loss to use them. So monopolies always. If you get away with anything, if you're a monopoly, right? Where's anybody else going to go? So you can charge and do whatever you want. So that's why, to me, that's what's great about capitalism. Survival of the fittest, and that means somebody else is cheaper. Okay, one aspect directs the Department of Health and Human Services to produce comprehensive plan in the next 45 days to combat prescription drugs. So in 45 days, we're going to know more about a plan to get that. Now, here's what happened. With the Obama administration required insurance selling in the marketplaces to have at least one option with a standard benefit design to make it easier for consumers to compare plans for different insurance. Such standard benefits were part of the marketplace in 17 and 18, 2017, 2018, but the Trump administration removed the requirement in 2019. Okay, now what that says, if you go to Obamacare, and if you don't have Obamacare, you should go now, or after you finish this wonderful video, and try to apply if you don't have it, because they made more and more people eligible for free or for big discounts. In other words, grants to help you pay for the premiums. But what they're saying now, they want to make it easier to compare plan A to plan B to plan C by having a basic program that's the same. So what Trump did is got rid of that. So you can't compare one or other because you don't know the bells and whistles. This one has an ashtray, this one doesn't have an ashtray. Yeah, it's hard to compare. So they're trying, what the initial thing had is every plan had a basic, which all the same thing. So you could go and compare everyone on the basic plan and see who's naughty and who is nice, who is better, whatever. Okay. Also, he cites research showing hospitals. Okay, this is another thing he's doing. In order to contains language condemning the effects of hospital consolidation. So what's happening to hospitals are buying other hospitals, so we're getting monopolies in hospitals. And what he's saying here, he cites research. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Actually, I don't see anybody chatting. I wonder if the chat's available. He cites research showing that hospitals in consolidated markets tend to charge more than those in greater competition. So if you have less competition, it's going to be higher price hospitals. So he's trying to get the big hospitals to stop buying all the little hospitals. So there's only just one big hospital. That's not fair. Okay, well, maybe it is fair. I don't know. That's a different argument. Okay, Biden says his administration should continue to move forward with controversial recent rules that compel hospitals to disclose prices they negotiate with private insurance companies. That's it. You can't tell a price for anything until you get the bill. Then it's too late. So that's another thing. And actually, they just passed a law too, with no surprise bills. Oh, you went to the hospital. Well, that guy who gave you the enema, is out of your network, and you have to pay him $1,500 or whatever. Can't do that anymore. That's a new law. Oh, we're hearing great. Just logged in. We can hear you. Great. Yeah. So Florida, you could buy cheap drugs from Canada. When that first was notified, people were getting bus trips and they go to Canada and buy their drugs for the year. I think people go to Mexico too and do that. Does this have anything to do with the Trump sign to make drug prices cheaper? Yeah, this is part of it. And so Trump started it, and now Biden's picking it up and going to work with states to have more states. So the only states that did it with Trump is Florida, and it's still in the process. Yeah, everything's going to take. So all these things about Biden saying is not going to happen overnight. And it has to rules have. It's not a legislation. When a law passes, bam, bim, bam, we're on. That's why they passed a law about the unemployment and the PPP and all that, and they had to start giving out the money tomorrow. This from the White House. Sort of like, remember Trump used to hold up his signature that he said, "Oh, I signed another law." Well, that has to be go through a process at the agencies, and they have to talk about it and like comments and all this. So it's a little long, but you see where it's going, and I think the whole country's going that way because even the Republicans are a little pissed that the big companies have so much power because they're now high-tech companies, and the high-tech companies aren't as Republican as like General Motors was. By the way, I don't know if you realize these high-tech companies, are worth trillions of dollars now or whatever, and if an old time like General Motors is worth that. General Motors, at the same value of the company, would hire millions of people. High-tech companies don't hire as many people. for the same value of the company. So now these high-tech companies that are the most richest companies in the world now hire a fraction of the employees that we were when we were in manufacturing, like General Motors. If they were a $1 trillion company, they'd be hiring 1 trillion people. Facebook hires just like 10% for the same value of the company. So this is, we're in a big structural change, and so it's how you're going to make money in this market. You use the government money to get up to speed or to solve a past problem or whatever. Dig out of the hole and then start doing something new. And you start doing something new is learning how to make income new. And if you're going to just live off of government grants forever, I mean, that's some people have to, and we have programs for that. But trying to do that forever, to me, is not sustainable. We're all going to live a long time. I'm 78, and I live at least 15 years, maybe 20. I don't know. So to me, that's why I want to figure out how can I make money. How can I support myself? And it's not only making money. We have to support ourselves, but it's giving. How do you give? How are you of value to our society? You want to sit here and sit on the beach and have the rest of us pay for you to sit on a beach? I don't think that's very satisfying. It is for a little bit, right? By the way, that's the Potomac behind me. I'm at the Kennedy Center, and it's a beautiful place. When you come to Washington, you got to come to Kennedy Center. Yeah, it's beautiful, and there's a nice terrace on top. This is where they have operas and all fancy kind of plays and stuff. And they have a free concert every night in the hallway, which is really nice. So I think it's like 5, 6 o'clock, and that's fun. But Kennedy Center, and they just put an addition. I was there, I think, a couple days ago, and I showed you what was over there. But this is the Potomac River, separates Washington, D.C. from Virginia. And the airport for Washington, National Airport, is really in Virginia. So when you fly into Washington, you're flying into Virginia. They don't tell you that, though. But that's what happens. So if you want to come see me, you got to fly Virginia. But it's only half a mile away. And people canoe and stuff like that in the river. It's nice. And Washington's a nice town because it's an international city. I think that's nice. And it is not overwhelming. And, you go downtown Chicago, you're in a canyon. Downtown New York is a canyon. You can't see the sky. San Francisco, all these big cities are like that. This, you can't be higher than 13 stories. And what's nice too, the cost of living is certainly a lot less. I feel it's sort of easier to be middle class here than it is in other cities. Actually, the reason I really, really like it is that our local news is international. See, if you live in Pittsburgh and you have a garbage strike, that's going to be front page news. Garbage strike, yeah. And the Pittsburgh Gazette, we'll never have that. Front page news is some politician falling into the Potomac River with his girlfriend or something like that. or we're screwing over with a war with somebody else. Yeah, all that's our headlines on the local paper. So that's sort of nice. So we're not as parochial. Everybody's in, everybody's in. Well, they are in a different way, but we're all human. But I like having that bigger thing to worry about instead of just what's happening local. Because actually now we're an international society. Everybody's online, getting business from all over the world, and so we got to be aware of all over the world more. And that's why this city. I mean, there's no. Actually, there's not really good bar food. Eastern European bar food that I was used to, where I grew up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So you get, restaurants from all over the world, open here, and the local food really is soul food, and that's cool too. That's different. So the food varieties are incredible. So that's what's nice about living in Washington. Okay, I'm going to finish my run. Go work. Oh, I know. The winners, 20 winners are going to get 10 are going to get $1,000, and 10 are going to get $500. Going to announce them later today or first thing in the morning. And Um, I'll mention the name. And we're trying to get in touch with you, so we got to find out how to send you the money. And if you have a PayPal account, that's great. A Zelle, 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 or however you say it. That's another way is easy to send you the money. Or we could send you a check if that's the only way. Is it against law to use money from PPP and invest it in stock market? Yeah, well, if you're giving it as a wage to yourself and putting it in the stock market, that's okay, I would think. Read it to make sure. Don't guess on me. Thank you for always providing great information. You help my boss get a loan. Oh, really? Great. So is he giving you the money? See, he should be giving you the money. That's what he should do. And those PPP are forgivable loans. And by the way, the EIDL money, lots of money left. They're looking for almost 700,000 more people to give money to. 700,000 small businesses they're looking to give money to. And that's why the requirements now, you have to be in certain areas of the zip codes. So if you're not in those zip codes, then you're not eligible. But they're thinking if they can't find 700 people to apply, then the problem may have to change that requirement. So keep an eye on that too. If you don't think, if you're not eligible with the requirement of the location of your business. And that's a little funky, that location thing. Some people, across the street, it's a low income and you're not. And, but who knows? It is follow laws. You want to change the system, go run for Congress. You want to use it, just figure it out, try it, and bitch and get on with life, man. There's too many other possibilities. Just keep going. That's what life is about, is falling down and trying again. Life is just one failure after another. So get used to it. It's the way you learn. It's the way you grow. So get out there and start growing.